invite folks here, brother.
You're live
That's
now.
three. You're gonna invite folks here. Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. This is your brother, student Imam Sultan Rahman Muhammad, coming live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to wish the believers Ramadan Mubarak. Praise be to Allah. We've been blessed over the last few days, or over 10 days or so, leading up, 10 days leading up to the holy month of Ramadan, to have a framework where Allah Most High has given us a challenge this holy month of Ramadan, to recreate not only self, but the way we practice the holy month of Ramadan. So we're going to give folks an opportunity to log on, and inshallah we will deal with all of the questions, or as many questions as we possibly can, that we have received from the believers. So we received questions from how do we actually practice fasting when we have health conditions, to questions, how early or when should my child begin to fast. We've had questions about how we will actually practice the holy month of Ramadan in terms of the various activities that we have throughout the month, such as iftar, Taraweeh, and as well as the Eid Salah, or the festival of Eid. So praise be to Allah. It's a blessing, it's a mercy to have met the holy month of Ramadan. I thank Allah for the blessing to be before the believers, and just honestly provide informal manner to have a discussion throughout the month, and answer many of the questions that we have received leading up to the month. Tonight, as we, inshallah, will maintain a framework as students. Assalamu alaikum to all on Instagram. Praise be to Allah. Invite a friend. Invite those who may have asked you any questions. Invite some of our brothers and sisters from the broader nation to join in, for this month is a time to build the will, and it's not just a Muslim thing. Fasting, praise be to Allah. Allah Most High has said in the Quran that He prescribed fasting for you as He prescribed fasting for those before us. And inshallah, we'll get more into that as we move forward in the program. So, inshallah, as we look forward to this holy month, we look forward to spending time with our families. For as we are practicing this holy month of Ramadan and its fast, as well as the activities, who is going to be our number one compadres, our cohort, our brothers, our sisters who are challenging one another to reach our goals, other than the ones we love most in our families, in our homes, and those that are single. Praise be to Allah. Thank Allah for social media. Thank Allah for these platforms that is allowing us to come together to actually spend this kind of time together and really get to know each other better. Praise be to Allah. So, as we continue, we are about to begin the program, which is a very simple program, very free-flowing, just Q&A, questions and answers to the believers on the fasting and its practice during the holy month of Ramadan. So I am seeing, praise be to Allah, the believers logging in, all our brothers and sisters, really from around the world, praise be to Allah. Ramadan Mubarak, everyone. The night precedes the day. We are in the first night, Allah willing, of the holy month of Ramadan. We have been looking forward to this day. We have been looking forward to this night. We are blessed to be here. We are blessed to have had an opportunity to actually witness and be in this time and hour to show Allah our devotion when it matters. And what do we mean by that? When it matters, really it matters every millisecond of our lives. But Allah wants to know if we are thankful for the warning that we have received. Allah wants to know if we have regard for the reward that we have received in this faith called Islam, in the way that we as a people have come about discovering and unpacking who we are. For we are a gift by the grace of Allah to the world by the very fact that we have been blessed. Allah has intervened in our affairs in the person of Master Father Muhammad, the great Mahdi. He has taught us what is Ramadan, what it means to fast. And it is through his chief student, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that we, the black people of America, have not only learned what it means or what it is to be a Muslim, but what it means to know what Ramadan is. Praise be to Allah. Let us give a quick, inshallah, roll call to some of our brothers and sisters. I see Brother Kyle Muhammad, Brother Charles, Sister Amina Muhammad, Brother Paul, Sister Sharon, Sister Selena, Bashira Muhammad, Dominique. Praise be to Allah. Ramadan Mubarak to everyone. Today, inshallah, we will go in just 3 minutes. We will go over frequently asked questions that we have received over the years regarding fasting. Blessed to have an opportunity to actually ask these questions of our minister, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We were able to, through an interview of frequently asked questions, compile them. And these questions really are not my questions, but they are the questions of the believers that I would hear and then shared with our dear minister, and we compiled his answers to those questions. And you should have received those answers and the questions in your email today, wishing you a Ramadan Mubarak, along with some of those practical questions that our dear minister answered for us. So Ramadan readiness. Share with your friends, invite others to the conversation. I see Brother Dalil Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. Praise be to Allah. Brother Charles, Siddiq, Brother Rashan, Ali. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak. My dear brother. Assalamu alaikum. Sister, oh no, that's my brother Zahir Ali. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Zahir, may Allah bless you with a blessed holy month of Ramadan. He is one of our premier scholars and historians who also, like his brother, is a listener of the purple one, Prince. I think we got into it one time or another. I think I challenged my brother on his purpleness and he left me way behind. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Zahir. And we know our brother, just recently we've honored his passing. And you know, it's something beautiful, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, at a time when we are losing so many, and we honor those who are the greats most often and too often after they're gone. So this holy month of Ramadan, let us keep in mind all of those that were with us last Ramadan and did not make it this holy month of Ramadan, but returned to Allah. And we will keep all in prayer during this month when we are faced with the trial of COVID-19. Oh, my brother, my brother who I spoke to earlier today lost his mother to COVID-19. We lost our dear sister Pamela, our dear student minister Hafiz Muhammad, Abdul Hafiz Muhammad, all of those believers and those of all faith. We hold up prayer during this holy month of Ramadan for all that have passed and all that continue to struggle with this coronavirus. But we thank Allah for granting us another opportunity to renew ourselves. Ramadan Mubarak. Ramadan Mubarak. Ramadan Mubarak. Praise be to Allah. Assalamu alaikum. Preacher Moss, my brother got jokes. You're going to have to show us some new jokes here for a holy month of Ramadan. Preacher Moss, my brother. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak. If you all don't know who Preacher Moss is, our brother is one of the funniest halal comedians you can have. So, you know, I would say be careful of some of the media that we're watching in the name of entertainment. We've got some beautiful halal comedy from our brother, Preacher Moss. Praise be to Allah. And on that note, that is one of the questions. What can we do during the holy month of Ramadan that is not haram? Everything haram, haram, haram. Forbidden, forbidden, forbidden. Allah says in the Holy Quran that He does not desire hardship. This month is a month where Allah says that this is a month لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَقُونَ, where Allah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, has established this month to teach us taqwa, to teach us to have regard for Allah Most High. So when we're listening to comedy that is light-hearted, celebratory of life, yet halal, we need to know. Muslims have fun. We can have fun during the holy month of Ramadan. We can have fun at any time, as long as we are consistently urging one another to goodness, to truth, regardless to creed, class, or color. Praise be to Allah. Again, Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak, Brother Preacher Moss. All right. Continue to invite your friends. Continue, inshallah, as we simply greet you with Ramadan greetings, Ramadan Mubarak, welcoming in this most holy month, this first night of the holy month of Ramadan. Praise be to Allah. This Ramadan readiness session, session 3, is dedicated to, once again, answering those most commonly asked questions. We will quickly move through as many as we can. Wa alaikum salam, dear Sister Denise. Wa alaikum salam, Brother Young God. So, to guide us through the question and answers, before we begin to take those that we have received over the last 10 days or so, as we have begun the Ramadan readiness programming to prepare us, inshallah, for, again, those basic questions that come up consistently, inshallah, that we want to make sure that we answer. Praise be to Allah. You stay blessed as well, dear brother. May Allah bless you. All right. Yes, that's a quick one we can answer. Sister Aisha is blessed. Sister Aisha is blessed. She asked, coffee is not, all caps, okay to drink during the daylight hours of Ramadan, correct? That is correct, dear sister. It is not. We do not intake any drink, any water, anything that comes into the body through the mouth, all right, eating food, drinking, no food, no water. As a matter of fact, we go as far as to, as we were mentioning, not to listen to things that are salacious or that would fan the lower desires, or, those songs, those old love songs that make you think about those times. And no, it's only for Allah. So we don't listen to things that would take us off the remembrance of Allah. So yes, let's play the Holy Quran. Let's play messages from our dear minister, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Let's listen to things that purify and educate the heart and mind in our devotion. These are all devotions. So then our listening becomes an act of worship. Our sight becomes an act of worship as we read and look at new things that Allah is exposing us to in His creation. This is the mindset that we should have of the levels of fasting. Inshallah, tomorrow for Jumu'ah, the live broadcast will deal with the 3 levels of fasting: internal, external, and communal. This year, we're going to have to focus in new ways on the communal fasting, which means different ways we come together to support and exhort one another to kind acts. That includes feeding the indigent, the poor, the suffering, our brothers and sisters that don't know where their next meal is coming from. So, dear sister, Aisha is blessed. That is correct. During the daylight hours, we do not intake any water, any coffee, any tea, any shakes, protein shakes, nothing from pre-dawn until after sunset, from dark to dark. Praise be to Allah. All right. Inshallah, with that, we will and have established the idea of today's session. It's just Q&A, questions, answers, directly from our minister and directly from your brother, that inshallah can help us build our arsenal for this war on our lower selves that we are facing, coming right now. Tomorrow, Ramadan Mubarak, when the sun rises, we will be fasting. Tomorrow is the first day of fasting during the holy month of Ramadan. and this is the first night of the holy month of Ramadan. So at this point, inshallah, I will share on my screen final call article that was published from an interview held with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And then we will, after we move through this, then go back to questions that we've received over the last sessions. Okay. So at this point, inshallah, okay. You should see on your screen our Ramadan announcement. Can we see that on our screens yet? No. Oh. This is a new platform. Please bear with me one moment. I think I just shared my emails with everyone. Well, praise be to Allah. That box is full. Brother S3, I'm trying to share this screen right here. This one. Yes. Okay. As we share the screen, we will, again, move through the questions. Please, right now, if you have any questions, please post them in your IG thread or comments here, as well as Facebook or YouTube. We're able to see your comments and your questions live. Praise be to Allah. So at this point, you should see an email that we've sent out, and you should now review this email, study this email, for in it we've enclosed the article of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's direct answers to questions asked on the holy month of Ramadan. This article or interview is called Lessons in Ramadan. On this email, you will also find a downloadable schedule for the prayers throughout the day, the salah of throughout the day, and their times. The times are based Central Standard Time, and for each of your time zones, this is available. For the times of prayer throughout the day. All right. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we begin. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We start, brothers and sisters, with the primary ayah of the Holy Quran, where Allah Most High gives the commandment for fasting. When we look at Surah 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, if we take our Holy Quran and we open to chapter 2, Surah Al-Baqarah, the cow, verse 183, we see a verse that begins as follows in the original Arabic. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyamu kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. O you who believe. O you who believe. Not ya ayyuhal muslimin, meaning, oh, you Muslims, right? Oh, you who believe. Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu. We, brothers and sisters, must know that as Allah has stated in this verse, He states, O you who believe, fasting, as-siyam, as-siyam, fasting is prescribed for you, as it was prescribed for those before you, so that you may guard against evil. In the original Arabic, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may learn taqwa, or regard, or to guard, to have consciousness of Allah, to have the shield of consciousness of Allah and His presence, so that we are following His commandments, His will, not our own, so that we submit to Allah's will, so that we may strive toward a more perfect self and more perfect community. Allah continues in this passage in verse 184, stating, for a certain number of days, for a certain number of days, meaning the fast. But whoever among you is sick or on a journey, he shall fast a like number of days. And those who find it extremely hard effect redemption by feeding a poor man. So whoever does good spontaneously, it is better for him, and that you fast is better for you if you know. Brothers and sisters, that is verse 183 and verse 184. This next ayah, the month of Ramadan, Shahr Ramadan, الذين أنزل. The month of Ramadan is that in which the Quran was revealed. Anzila. A guidance to men and clear proofs of the guidance and the criterion. So whoever of you is present in the month, he shall fast therein. And whoever is sick or on a journey, he shall fast a like number of other days. Allah desires ease for you. And He desires not hardship for you. And He desires that you should complete the number, and that you should exalt the greatness of Allah for having guided you, and that you may give thanks. And when my servants ask thee concerning me, surely I am nigh. I am near. I answer the prayer of the suppliant when he calls on me, so they should hear my call and believe in me, that they may walk in the right way. Praise be to Allah. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. Allah speaks the mighty truth. The gifts of Allah are great. Here, brothers and sisters, in this passage, we literally have a full outline of how to fast, its expiations. We have an outline of what Allah has done during this holy month in terms of the revelation of the Holy Quran. Really, in this section, we see the beauty of Allah's mercy in the mandates of fasting. If we were to read this without the cajoling of this school of thought or that school of thought or this saying or that saying on how to actually, if we were to still our hearts and minds of the chatter of the many interpretations or the tafsir that we hear regarding these verses, they would speak plainly to your heart and soul. That Allah Most High just wants us to challenge ourselves during this holy month. He wants us to set a standard for self that will allow us to learn more of how we can guard ourselves against evil and how we can run evil from this earth of self and therefore challenge the evil that we face right before us. Brothers and sisters, praise be to Allah. Inshallah, we will go further into the challenges of the holy month of Ramadan tomorrow for the live broadcast of Salatul Jumu'ah. These ayat in Surah Baqarah verses 183 through 186 should be studied for the holy month of Ramadan. Studied individually so that we can see what Allah Most High has said about this month. Now, as we have started with a reading from the Holy Quran, we will begin the Q&A, which proceeds with a quote from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. As we mentioned, get rid of the evil of self. This beautiful citation of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad from How to Eat to Live, Book 2, page 57 and 58, reads like this. Ramadan, the Holy Quran teaches us, is the month the Holy Quran was revealed to Muhammad. And they worship the month by abstaining from eating and drinking during the daytime, from sun up to sundown. Here, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is speaking of they, the Muslim world, the Muslims. They abstain, they worship the month by abstaining from eating and drinking during the daytime from sun up to sundown or before the sun rises until after she sets in the western skies. If you take it, the fast of Ramadan with them, you are doing the right thing until this evil world has vanished. Praise be to Allah. So in this quote, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad writes, he's telling us the purpose of fasting is to fast and pray that we see the devil run from the planet Earth. Yes, we are fasting to build our discipline. We are fasting so that we can build our will, build our character. But we are fasting to challenge ourselves to withstand the onslaught of the attack of our open enemies. If we can challenge ourselves to abstain from water during the daylight hours, we can challenge ourselves on much bigger things. But if we cannot challenge ourselves not to drink water during the day for 16 hours, how well will we fare on the wiles or with the wiles of Satan? Let us test ourselves before we are tested. The questions posed to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in this interview, as we mentioned, were based on the many conversations and questions that I've received from the believers over the years. Allah willing, all that read and reflect on the responses of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will find your questions answered to support your fast through the month, the holy month of Ramadan. So Allah willing, we're going to move quickly through this. Our first question is the following. How does fasting influence and sharpen us in terms of the spirit of freedom, justice, and equality as individuals and collective Muslim Ummah worldwide? This question was based on what we read earlier, that the first 10 days, mercy, second 10 days, forgiveness, last 10 days, freedom from fire. So freedom, justice, and equality is the lesson of Ramadan. Our dear minister, he answers. Those three principles, speaking of freedom, justice, and equality, those three principles of life are with us before the fast. They should be with us during the fast, and they should be with us after the fast. But during the fast of Ramadan, our minds stayed on the worship of Allah and stayed on the remembrance of the great gift to humanity of the Quran must mean that the following, that sacredness of the Quran, should be our actions in accord with what the Quran and Allah demands of the believer, especially during the sacred month. Once you are sincere in your fast, you have a sensitivity to the hurt and pain of others who are poor, who are not eating well, who are in areas where there is drought and other calamities. You are feeling their pain. But my God, if we are fasting and have no sense of what it means to be just, meaning that, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, justice lays down with you when you lay down. Justice gets up with you when you get up. The requirement of this universally applicable law is that you must do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. When you wake up to the law that whatever you put out is coming back, or is going to come back. Praise be to Allah. During the month of Ramadan, you, our dear minister states, should be more careful of the words that you speak to your wife, to your children, to your neighbors, in the councils that you are a part of. That counsel should always be that I want for my brother what I want for myself. Man, we should look at our children, we should look at our wives, we should look at our husbands right now, and just give a big old Ramadan hug and kiss. And, you know, for all my single brothers, single sisters, high five, Ramadan Mubarak. Raise them up, do our hands, Ramadan Mubarak. Let's show each other some love. This is what our dear minister is saying is the purpose of Ramadan. The regard for one another, the regard for our duty that Allah has established between families, husband, wife, children. That counsel should always be that I want for my brother what I want for myself. And if that is not intensified during the month of Ramadan, we are missing terribly what this month signifies. It's not just not eating and having iftar, breaking fast during Ramadan at the practiced collective time of breaking the fast, and enjoying each other at the breaking of the fast, but we continue to do things that we don't want done to ourselves. Wow. So we look at this. This was, praise be to Allah, an interview taken in 2015. Look at the meaning that it has now, where our minister is reminding us, yes, break your fast with your families, your friends, but the most important thing is to build that relationship, as we mentioned, between brother, sister, family. The stronger our relationships are with our husbands, our wives, the stronger our relationships are with our children, in our households, our neighbors and communities, the stronger our nation. Moving on with our dear minister's insight to these questions of the meaning of Ramadan. If we reflect on that first answer, we will see the essence of the meaning of Ramadan. Praise be to Allah. There's so much that comes that, inshallah, I won't interject. We will just feed from our minister. But there's so many beautiful thoughts that, inshallah, we can share that are being inspired by reading from this, that we can, at another time when we come on for the next session, and inshallah we'll have others joining. We started out again with Brother Carlos from Baltimore, Student Minister Carlos Muhammad from Baltimore, Brother Student Minister Eric Muhammad from Houston, and inshallah Brother Carlos may give us a call in a little later tonight, we'll see. But inshallah we will continue to have others join into this conversation to share along with us their wins of the holy month of Ramadan, you know, and make sure we're calling in on each other, checking in on each other. How is your fast going? You know, we're already planning some Zoom iftars. So our minister was speaking about iftar. He said it's not just eating and having iftar and enjoying each other at the breaking of the fast, but we continue to do that. We should be continuing to do that. Praise be to Allah. Continuing to do that after Ramadan. Ramadan is a reset. 9th month in the lunar calendar. 9th month. The significance is very beautiful. A new beginning. Completion. 9th month. The cycle of the birth of a child. In this 9th month is a prescription, Ramadan, for fasting. Throughout the day we have another prescription called Salah, 5 times a day. Then for every week we have Jumu'ah, once a week. All of these are prescriptions that are actually designed around a social order of practices that allow us to become closer as brothers and sisters for a purpose that is not the objective of simply fasting or simply praying, but the objective is freedom, justice, and equality. The objective is to rid the whispers of Satan from the heart, mind. The objective is to rid Satan from the planet Earth, period. These are the true meanings of the practice of our principal actions of faith that are being exposed to the world, because now, brothers and sisters, we must look more closely at the individual realities of these rights of Islam and how they are building our will. Are they building our will? Or are we disintegrating in our own homes? We continue. Our next question to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the following. A tradition or hadith of Muhammad, peace be upon him, regarding the last 10 days of Ramadan points to the change of our condition through the month's discipline of fasting as means of our redemption through self-purification from the hells of our own vanities and vices. Ramadan is a month whose beginning is mercy, whose middle is forgiveness, and whose end is freedom from the fire. Could this mean in the holy month that we are not overcoming the fires of our own sin to be freed from the tyranny of our own evils and our open enemies because of our injustices to ourselves? Is the Muslim world qualifying itself through the observation of the fast to receive the mercy, forgiveness, and freedom from the fires of hell during this month? Oh, brothers and sisters, this particular question I did ask of our minister, and this was during and is during the time of the wars between Muslims. Yemen and Saudi Arabia were and are still in conflict. Can we say that we are observing the fast and Muslim nations are dropping bombs on Muslim nations? Husband and wife in our homes are abusing one another. Relationship between children and parents are under strife. It is the building of our relationships that we brothers and sisters must look forward to in this holy month of Ramadan in ways that we have not in the past. The question continues, could this mean in the holy month that we are not overcoming the fires? Our minister responds as such. I do not know what the Muslim world is doing. Fasting is required. Staying away from fighting and arguing and bombing of masjids is still going on. Hatred is still manifested between Sunni and Shiite. Between Sunni and Shiite. I don't know whether there's deepening of commitment to Ramadan in that part of the world. That's what they are supposed to be doing. But you know, that is haram, forbidden. That fighting is still going on in the sacred month. Fighting is going on in Aden, in Yemen, bombing and killing because the Houthis are supposed to be Shia. So are they saying to the world that Allah's word has no meaning? If I'm going to kill a Shia, then if I'm going to kill a Shia, that I don't have to observe the holy month of Ramadan. In the fighting, there's a cessation of fighting during the holy months in obedience to Allah and His command to us. So if there is no cessation, no one is talking about that, then their personal hatred has risen above the word of Allah. That is a very bad situation. Oh Allah. You know, as we read this, we see the time that we are in now with COVID-19. There has been discussion of a cessation of war between the Muslim nations. Have these calls to peace been adhered to? We have to say no. During this, and someone who is watching this news in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, some have agreed to peace treaties during this time, but some also have broken these treaties. The fact that we have to even deal with this on that level between Muslim nations is what our minister is warning us about and has warned us about. So, brothers and sisters, we must take a look at what is happening in the Muslim world. Right now, all of the places of worship are closed, and we are all facing a common enemy. And we pray to Allah that we are only becoming more and more tied at the heart with such losses, so that we are feeling the pain of one another, as our minister mentioned in his answer, that during this month we should be becoming closer and closer to our sensitivities as it relates to the pain of others who are suffering injustice, of poverty, who are suffering injustices of equity in society. That is what the holy month of Ramadan is about. Establishing equity, establishing proper distribution of the riches. The 10% will no longer rule. This is the end of the rule of the old world and the rise of a new Islam. We are recreating the rights of the faith so that we maintain the essence of what they mean. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, let us continue. Please post your questions, post your comments and responses. Let us, when we hear something that is resonating from us of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, let us throw up our dua signs. Let us show that we are listening to the guidance of a man who is for our time. Not only for our time, in time, on time, and without the guidance that we have, that we can just pull up and reference from the millions of words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for guidance in such an hour. Guidance from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in such an hour. What foods to store, how to act, what foods to eat, when to eat. Inshallah, we're going to save some money on that food bill during the holy month of Ramadan. Some of us went down to zero for gas, but $2,000 in food bills because we're sitting at home eating with nothing to do, binging on whatever it is we're binging on, food and entertainment. So let us, brothers and sisters, reflect on the purpose of this month, and as our minister reminded the Muslim world of doing away with fighting during the holy months, that freedom, justice, and equality is something that we enter the month with, are in the month with, and should leave the month with. So let us practice freedom, justice, and equality in our homes. Praise be to Allah. I just got note that our brother Carlos, student minister Carlos Muhammad from Baltimore, is logged in audio. Please send our brother your salams. We will try to hear him. Instagram, we may need a moment to switch up a little bit. And we will come back in just one moment with the next question from myself on this interview to our minister. We also have online our dear brother, student minister Eric Muhammad, assistant minister there in Houston. Houston, praise be to Allah. Oh, brother, I wish I had some of that sunshine. It's been winter here in spring in Chicago, cold and frozen. But thank you, Brother Eric, for joining us again. And brothers and sisters, as we move through the month of Ramadan, we will be inviting you to come join this call. We are streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, but we want to hear and interact with you as we move forward. So, inshallah, we will have some iftars together, inshallah. We'll break fast together. You can tell us what your recipe was. We can make our closing of the fast dua together, inshallah. But this is a Ramadan that we can have together, that we will have together. Praise be to Allah. So do we have our brother Carlos, his audio in? Our brother Eric, is your audio in? So we have our brother from the East Coast and our brother from Southwest. And inshallah, we will have our brothers on, our sisters on from the West Coast. This, inshallah, Ramadan readiness will grow as we move forward throughout this holy month. Praise be to Allah. Instagram, praise be to Allah. Oh, there's quite a few questions coming up here. Beautiful hearts jumping up. Praise be to Allah. Make sure you post your questions. If we do not get to your specific question tonight, I pray Allah that we answer them in what our dear minister has given to us in this interview from 2015. Please, again, submit your questions. Throughout the month, we will continue to answer them. And visit noi.org/Ramadan. noi.org/Ramadan. Okay, Brother Carlos, Brother Eric, do we have your audio?
Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak.
Yeah, maybe I should switch. Okay, and then you can charge this. Oh, I heard Ramadan Mubarak. Ramadan Kareem. Ramadan Mubarak. Ramadan Sa'eed.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. I wanted to give my brothers all of those greetings because, Brother Eric, I think you brought this up a few times. Depending, make sure that's saved, depending on where we are and what community we are actually engaging with, there are some subtleties in the difference in the way we greet with Ramadan greetings based on narrations of the Prophet, peace be upon him. And one of those narrations points to the fact that Ramadan Mubarak is of one of the greatest greetings, and you want to do your best to match the greatness of a greeting. Yes. So many respond in kind. Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Mubarak. Or they'll extend and they'll say Ramadan Mubarak Sa'eed Kareem, all meaning blessed month of Ramadan, happy month of Ramadan, or noble month of Ramadan. Praise be to Allah. Brother Eric, good to see you on. Is Brother Carlos, are you there? Okay, Brother Carlos will be patched in a moment, inshallah.
Yeah, you're so beautiful, Brother Imam. We see you on all three platforms. So,
Oh,
alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
so the contraption is working.
Yes,
Praise be to
yes.
Allah. So inshallah, we'll be back on IG in a moment, Instagram, inshallah. And man, brother Eric, I wish I had a pic of you that we could show you up here, but it's good to hear your voice.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. So
Alhamdulillah.
this is our first night of the holy month of Ramadan. And if you've been watching, beloved, we're going through the Q&A with our interview with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called Lessons in Fasting. It was an interview that was conducted in 2015 based upon the most asked questions of the believers that I had personally engaged with, as well as some timely aspects of what we just read regarding fighting among Muslim nations during the holy month of Ramadan. And our minister, uh, chided such action, of course, from nations. But this holy month of Ramadan, we're forced not to be tyrants in our own homes, not to set up borders in our own homes. You go over there, I'll be over here. If you cross that line, it's some rocket blasting with the injuries from our tongues. And this is the light thing. Some refer to it as emotional abuse. But during this time of COVID-19, you see a spike in abuse in the homes, domestic violence. So this month of Ramadan is something that all can learn from, of how to tame our lower desires through fasting. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, stated that fasting is the gateway to worship, pointing to the fact that if we are fasting, it is the only right or worship of Allah that only the sincere servant and Allah know that that servant, when practicing his or her fast, is actually fasting. Gateway to worship. So praise be to Allah. We will get back to questions so we can stay on time. We meant for this to be a little late in the evening to greet our brothers and sisters and welcome in the holy month of Ramadan together. My brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Mubarak to everyone.
Oh,
Look how he come on, Brother Imam. He come on looking like Sheikh Kamari now.
Sheikh Kamal bin Muhammad bin Abdullah. كيف حالك أخي؟
الحمد لله رب العالمين.
الحمد لله. أهلا وسهلا. Praise be to Allah. It's a blessing. Wow. During this challenging moment, that we are finding ways to get closer. Now, you and I know, Brother Eric, Brother Carlos, that when you have departments and the post and the lane to make sure no one is messing with that traffic, disturbing the flow, that when you're on post, you're very focused on that. Not that we are not focused now, but our post is at home.
That's right.
We are making our mosques our places of worship. So now, please don't take this out of context and say Brother Imam said. But Who's the captain in your house?
Come on.
Come on.
You gotta be
Where's
everybody
the
now for
FOI?
yourself.
Where's the MGT? You know, who's the first officer? Right? So all the systems that keep order in our mosque, we should begin to think in those manners with our home.
That's
The
right.
cleanliness,
That's
right?
right.
It's a house of worship. How we even put on the right attire. And this is a very quick reflection on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. My grandfather, Jabir Herbert Muhammad, Rahimullah, may Allah be pleased with him, shared something with me that I was really taken aback by when I was a young man about the history of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his children. He shared with me that he never saw his father outside of his bow tie and suit, that he would leave his room fully dressed before even presenting himself to his family.
Wow.
My grandfather said he was the messenger of Allah at home and to the world.
That's right.
Allah.
Allahu Akbar.
That's right.
Of course, he shared there were some times he came out, but it was very rare.
Yeah.
His way was to come out of his room fully dressed and ready. Look at
And
that.
I think I only have one rare photo of him, Imam, that was taken in a series of photos out in Phoenix, Arizona, where he actually has on a Muhammad Speaks sweatshirt.
Oh yes, I'm familiar with that one.
And that's the only
And
time.
the hat.
In the hat, in the shades. And that's the only time I've ever seen him out of a suit and tie. That's the only picture I've ever seen.
And even then, he's still represented.
Yes, with the Muhammad Speaks.
So praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
So IG will be back on in a minute. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube Live. We're going to try to get a picture maybe up of our brother Eric. We're blessed to have an image of our brother Carlos. So praise be to Allah. We're trying to get all the time zones in.
That's right. That's right.
Alhamdulillah. All right. So brother Carlos, we were just completing some of the questions from the interview with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from Lessons in Ramadan.
Yes, sir. I was watching.
2015. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I was
we were-
watching.
Excellent. So all that we're watching, please post your comments regarding the interview of our minister that we've just covered. And when you post your question or comment, please make sure that you ask the question that you desire. Don't feel like we won't be here again. If the question doesn't come to mind, we will get back to that question. Because again, these sessions we will, inshallah, be offering throughout the holy month of Ramadan. So we're back live on IG as well. And inshallah, did you have any thoughts, Brother Carlos, before we move forward?
Well, I would just share, I mean, because one thing that we know about the Honorable Minister is that when he's answering questions, as it was proven as you were reading them, and it's one of my favorite interviews, and I go over it each cycle of Ramadan, is the amazing quality that whatever he drops in a certain time period, it keeps unfolding over time. And those aspects of the way that we should be conducting ourselves and treating each other and how we should be coming together, who would have known that 5 years later, 5 cycles later, we would literally be under a quarantine during the time of Ramadan, in the month of Ramadan. But again, had you not told us when that interview was from, the answer was already evolutionary the moment that he spoke it, and we can continue to go back to it. So you can, I mean, lastly, I think any of us that have ever read an interview or watched the interview with the minister, the way Allah has blessed him to answer questions are so foolproof. I mean, it's to the point, and you can't get any better than that.
Yes, sir. To the point where when he's addressing nations, you feel, if you have that self-accusing spirit to hear anything our minister is saying, we should always be applying it to ourselves.
Right.
So even while he's addressing the ways in which our brothers and sisters are falling away in the old world of Islam, we can see in our own lives, are we fighting with one another?
That's right.
In our own homes, as communities, as people, particularly as black people, we have to put down the tribalism. We have to put down those things that we create as divisions between ourselves. You from the South, I'm from the North, whatever it may be. We have to put these things down. We have our brother Mufti, Sheikh, Qudus, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah.
Hey, I had to get in character, man. You know, it's time to get in character, man.
You still have that Mecca scent upon you.
Yeah.
The well of Zamzam is still flowing in the veins. Praise be to Allah. Brothers and sisters, you're joining your brothers.
Come on, that's
We're
right.
fellowshipping. We are going over questions and answers that the believers have posed and that have been posed to our dear minister, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We're not going to keep you up too late at all, but we are festively bringing in the holy month of Ramadan.
Imam, I have to add now, I do have a special hashtag that many of the believers, I know Brother Jesse does it, I use it. We become, in the month of Ramadan, we become Team No Sleep.
Team No Sleep.
Right.
Team No Sleep. And it is, maybe you could talk about this because it just kind of happened over time.
Yeah.
The significance of the nights for Muslims, especially during Ramadan, and how the night precedes the day. And I think in our Western culture, we're so used to the day taking precedent and proceeding into night. But during Ramadan, it becomes a very festive time. And even physically, if we're really fasting, our energy levels in the next few days will become more intensified in the evening once we start taking on food and water after fasting these long hours. But definitely things kind of reverse themselves. and I find personally that it is good if, and I think we're all able to a large degree now because of COVID, is really regulate around prayer. And during Ramadan, you do not want to oversleep that Fajr prayer, not one single time. So if anything, I'm not going to sleep until after Fajr, after I hear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and get my team No Sleep to go, get to going, you know?
Yes, and you know, for every physical reality, there's a spiritual reality. So what you're saying, brother Minister, it's so beautiful because when the sun is out, you notice we are fasting, and our prayers are done silent, and it's more internal. But when the sun declines, now we're taking in the nourishment, and our prayers are out loud.
Yes.
You know, so there's a significance within the night preceding the day, and the day and the day coming into the night. You know, this connection going from the day to the night and the night into the day, and what we are doing in the process of this transition between them both.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay, I think we. No, that's beautiful. I just want to make a quick. There was IG, Instagram are unable to hear our brothers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the only thing. If you're on IG, Instagram, please visit us at YouTube. Um, my channel is Sultan Muhammad. YouTube, we're live there. You won't have to worry about any breaks in the connection. All right. And you will be able to hear my brothers. I'm not here talking to myself. I haven't lost my mind. brother Imam lost his mind and went live on IG talking to himself. You know,
and laughing to himself.
That's right. Join us on YouTube, Facebook Live. Praise be to Allah. Oh, there's our sister Rahmana. Good to see you on there.
Assalamu alaikum. Howard University in the house.
That's right, HW. Howard University. Praise be to Allah.
So, Brother Imam, if I did want to add, I want the believers that are watching, you see the festive in the righteous way right now. You see the joy among us as brothers and companions, but this joy is spreading throughout the world as we are welcoming in the month of Ramadan. Just earlier tonight, I was on the phone with the believers of Mosque number 6. They send their love and greetings, and they were so happy to have a conference call welcoming the month of Ramadan. And you could, just to think that we're on a phone line, but you could feel the spirit that they're happy that the month has arrived and Allah has blessed us and afforded us another opportunity to be in it. And this is the joy, dear believers, of the month when you really begin to grow and learn and understand its virtue. But one of the things that stood out to me when Imam was reading those answers from the minister, it made me reflect on the beauty of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and this infrastructure that Allah blessed us to come into, because his way in his teaching prepared us. As he said, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, pretty soon I'll have you to the place where I could drop you off anywhere in the Muslim world and you would be at home. And so when we look at discipline, when we look at abstinence, when we look at duty, when we look at in terms of our character and our way and our position, I thank Allah. I'm not making a judgment.
No.
But having to give up cigarettes during the daylight hours is not something that we have to struggle with. No. And I'm saying that to say that when we're judged based on our school of thought, if you really look at us carefully, you will see that we are striving to be a righteous Muslim, a righteous person under the banner of Islam from the tradition of Prophet Muhammad, peace and prayers be upon him.
That's right. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. You know, that banner the Honorable Elijah Muhammad speaks about, and we will go into the night preceding the day of that banner, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. I can't recall the page right now, but it is the longest transliterated phrase of Arabic in Message to the Black Man, which is the full kalima, or the statement of testimony. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in the context of this, was stating in words that when the enemy hears us say these words, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, that they would or should want to go off and commit suicide.
Tremble and go off and commit suicide.
There it is, beloved.
This is on page 167.
Tremble
Message to the
and
Black.
Go off and commit suicide. Page 167.
Yes, he says here, Imam, if you will allow me, he says,
Please.
we say Allah is God. We say in Arabic language, Allahu Akbar. We say in the Arabic language, and he transliterates, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. We that say that in your midst today should make you tremble and go off and commit suicide. Page 167, Message to the Black Man.
Now, why do we bring that up? Because, and I think in the next line or so, in words our beloved messenger Messiah says, because they know they didn't teach that to us.
Come on now. Bring the full context.
They didn't teach us La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. So, praise be to Allah. We thank Allah for our teachers. We thank Allah for the freedom, the justice, and the equality that we have been taught. Islam. Praise be to Allah. Now we're going to go quickly back and transition with our brother, Student Minister Eric's point on the night preceding the day as we move into closing out our questions and answers from lessons in fasting from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Brother S3, can you put this, share this screen? Got it. This. Okay. Well, praise be to Allah. Thank you for bearing with us. We left on the following question. We see ourselves in many ways vainly fighting tyranny of our own base desires during Ramadan, but not having the strength to fight the tyranny of the enemy externally, thereby becoming ritualistic as a Muslim family. I was leading toward a question with this, and our minister interjected saying the following: those are good words, Brother Imam. Thereby becoming ritualistic. And once it becomes ritual, it loses its real meaning of value.
Come on.
We do it because we are supposed to do it. So the prayer becomes ritualistic, the actions become ritualistic, and the ritual is only getting us into the practice of something much deeper than a ritual. So those are good words, brother, that could be used and maybe should be used during the month as we talk to ourselves and others. So our minister encouraged me to make sure we as believers understand that the rituals are not the real thing. The rituals are real. Yes, they are. But they have meaning. It's like reading a book. It's like watching the video. You see what you see, it is what it is, but is it the actual thing? What are these rituals pointing to? Inshallah, we will go deeper into these aspects of prayer, the meaning, the significance of the revelation of the Holy Quran in, inshallah, future sessions. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as I continued with the minister, I was saying to our dear minister, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has brought us the practice of our faith in a sense of gradualism. As at one point we started in December with our Ramadan fasting. And dear minister, as you have taught us that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad also points to fasting with the Muslim world in How to Eat to Live on page 58, saying that the Muslims, as I said, do not eat nor drink before sunrise until the sun sets. If you take it with them, the Ramadan fast, if you take it with them, you are doing the right thing until the evil world has vanished. As we have transitioned over the years, I want to say that there has been some misunderstanding, and that I think it comes to this idea of ritualism creeping in. The Quran has spoken about how the Jews, when given a command and ordinance, would ask questions so detailed that really it exposed that ultimately it would lead to a very ritualistic practice of the command given, or the fact that they really didn't want to perform the command of Allah. I think this in the Quran, when it is asked and commanded to slaughter a calf, and the question became, what size calf, what age calf, what color calf. By the time of all the questions were then explained, it becomes a very difficult process. Mm-hmm. If we apply this to the believers, as we have now grown under your instruction to fast with the broader Muslim world, there has been some concern or questioning about many details as it relates to the difference between our national fast and the Ramadan fast and its observance. So our national fast, our brother Carlos is laughing back there. I can't see your image at the moment.
I'm reading with you, Imam, but I know we would get to this point, and quickly, my wife just told me she came out whispering, she said, somebody had just asked, are we still to do the unity fast? So I said, don't worry, it'll be in the text coming up.
It's definitely coming.
Go right ahead.
It's definitely coming. And please excuse me as I'm reading, my eyes are getting bad. I'm trying to get a bigger image of this.
I'm here to help you as well, Brother Imam. I got it right in front of me as well.
Thank you. So our minister, he jumps in and he says, what is our national fast? Well, I responded, when I think of our national fast, I think of our 3-day unity fast that we strive to do once a month. That is suspended during Ramadan. Our dear minister was clear, concise, and didn't parse his words.
Suspended.
Okay, so I pray that answers the question for many that have asked about our national fast, 3-day unity fast during the holy month of Ramadan. As we mentioned in the previous Ramadan readiness session, is that the law here that our minister is really pointing to is that which is an obligation suspends with voluntary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so more detail with that at another time. Yes, sir. That is a frequently asked question among the believers. Now, my brother's laughing in the background again. He sees his brother dodging, asking that question because it was one that kept coming up, and we needed to hear it from our minister.
I could feel you. I could feel it. I've been blessed to be around the beloved for years, And I know just reading the words and how it flowed exactly what you was under at that point.
Yes, sir. So our minister comes back. Yes, sir. That is, or I say, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is a frequently asked question among the believers. His response, you know what? That's really just common sense. The national fast could never take precedence over Allah's command. He said, fasting, especially during the month of Ramadan. Look at our minister giving the dalil, the proofs from the Holy Quran, the science of the qiyas, as our scholars like to say, the analogies of fasting. Brothers and sisters, we have the best,
that's right,
the greatest.
That's right.
In the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We thank Allah. We thank Allah. Now you don't have to go check Google, whatever.
Imam Wikipedia.
Imam Wikipedia. All of these resources. We have millions of words spoken by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that we can gain guidance from, and that we, brothers and sisters, can spend a lifetime studying. So let us get busy and use this holy month of Ramadan as a time to feed our minds, our hearts, our spirits for a full change in self. Our next question as we move, and we'll move quickly, inshallah. A frequently asked question is whether or not it is permitted to eat land animals during the month of Ramadan. And another frequently asked question, dear minister, is regarding the times of fasting. According to our prayer times in this season, the Fajr prayer comes in roughly 3:30 a.m. in the morning, and we are told in the Quran to begin fasting before sunrise. This would mean we should stop eating when the call to prayer is sounded, adhan. But now there is conversation or whether or not we stop eating at astral twilight or to stop eating at civil twilight.
Tough.
So these, for those that are unfamiliar with these terms, you can use Sheikh Google for that. These are times of sunrise. Our minister follows that by saying, I don't know what you're talking about. Astral and civil. What does that mean? I respond, yes, sir. This is part of the issue. I feel among some believers we now start to strain at details when it really is common sense and about our intention. If we go to the Quran, it simply states that we are to eat and drink until the whiteness of the day becomes distinct from the blackness of the night. Minister Farrakhan responds, thank you. What does that have to do with these two words that you mentioned to me that I never saw in the Quran? Yes, sir. The Quran speaks of it in Arabic. In Arabic, it mentions a thread. It uses the word thread or white and thread of black. Thread of white and thread of black. Our minister responds, I'm more righteous than you because I follow that thread to the letter. I solved it. That's just like you say they slaughtered the calf. How big? How small?
Come on.
How this? How that? It didn't say it. Just said sacrifice the calf. That's it. What are you putting weight in it for? Size in it for? Color in it for? And you just keep going because you really don't want to do what Allah has ordered.
That is so profound, isn't it?
Profound. Profound. Brothers and sisters, let us not let deceptive intelligence destroy our blessed month of Ramadan. Let us not become caught in the minutia when Allah has made his commandments clear.
That's right.
Our minister continues. Now the thing with us is that we took our fast not with the Muslim world. We took it following the order of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and that order was rooted in, quote, Allah does not wish hardship for you. Now some would argue we'll think we should go back to that because this is hard. Well, of course it is hard, but but damn, this is harder. You're not killing yourself to fast. If you've been doing your national fast for 3 whole days, why should it bother you to fast a few more hours? We're making excuses, and since the messenger has put me in his seat to give an order and tell the believers whatever he tells you to do it. And don't bother me about nothing else. Praise be to Allah. Did I read that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bother me about nothing else. Exclamation point.
Exclamation point. Praise be to Allah. Continuing, our minister continues to respond. We're making excuses, and since the messenger has put me in his seat to give an order and tell the believers whatever he tells you to do it. And don't bother me about nothing else. He gave me an order. Quote, find a way to unite with the Muslim world. And I found a way in our observing Ramadan with the entire Muslim world. Some are angry with me for that. Some are saying, well, that's not what we did when the messenger was here. The messenger is still here.
Here. Come on.
Exclamation mark.
Come on.
Here.
Praise be to Allah. And we're coming near the end. Brother Eric, Brother Carlos, would you like to weigh in on this?
Well, it's interesting, each time we kind of have, I think in both the first and second parts of this, it constantly still is a question. And what's interesting that I can tell you honestly, there are believers that I know personally that I gave the interview to and went over the 3-day fast with them. But yet they still have a reason to keep asking about it. And so instead of me looking at the part of him saying it's suspended, going back over the part about at the end of the day, the person is only really demonstrating that they really just don't want to do it at all. And I'm looking at this to say you can't get no more clearer than what the minister has said. But during this time of quarantine, one thing that this cycle of Ramadan will do for the believer, you can't hide.
Oh, no.
There's no one here to hold you by the hand and guide you. There's no iftar for you every night at mosque number 6 or whatever masajid that you may go to that allows you the freedom to not worry yourself with where your meal is coming from. You're not, you got to take care of your own space now. You got to prepare your space for prayer, which is proper for Allah to be invited in. And so looking at these questions, it's really showing us at this time who we really are. And this is why we have to summon the total strength of our being, as our beloved minister said in one of the study guides, to face this difficulty. It's difficult in one sense, but with that difficulty comes the ease. And if we go each step like it's like a mountain, those first few days may be a little tough, the adjustment of the mind, the physical, the breaking of the habit. But if we stay the course and keep our minds rooted in the Quran and in our prayers and in the study of this word, we will find, trust me, dear believers, it will get easier in terms of the physicality with each day. And by the time you look, Ramadan will be closing out. And you know what? Not jumping the gun, but in future, we'll talk about how you get attached to Ramadan and it leaves.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you might want to hold on and I might want to hold on, but you'll see just how quick many just good. We out of here, you know. And so there are additional ways to hold on to the fast and the gains. And I would just say we are afforded an opportunity to use this as a springboard into a new you and a new me.
Right.
And a new us. And I found victories in Ramadan that I couldn't find at any other time in the year. And I pray to Allah that all of the believers will find those victories that you may have been trying at and striving for at certain points. But I can tell you, if they were harder in other months, I think that you'll find the ease in it if you stay the course in this month. So that's my point on it. You can't get any more clear than that. And for those that want to continue to do you, as we say in the worldly context, I'm doing me.
Do you.
Hey, do you. I'm going to do Allah and his messenger.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you deny yourself.
Yeah, you know, and for the newer believers, this is really good. You know, but however, Allah says to us that there's always been 12 months with Him.
That's right.
And when you mentioned earlier about taqwa, you know, having God consciousness, and asking for those of us who've been in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're asking 12, 13, and we're asking this same question, then we have to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, am I practicing Islam? But the minister said something that was very critical. He said this. He said that is not simple, but he said that is self-explanatory. Mm-hmm. That is, he mentioned something there like you should know this, in other words.
Common sense.
Common sense, yes. This is common sense, right? So throughout my practice before the month of Ramadan comes in, what makes this sense common? You see? So it's important to understand, and you mentioned earlier about rituals. See, so when I'm reading this I'm putting on my English teacher hat now, right? And as I'm reading this, I'm seeing how it's properly flowing. And it's saying key things to us about as Muslims, we should be educated, right? Educating ourselves on our religion. And when we come into the month of Ramadan, then certain things should be common sense. You know? In our very beginning, I get it. We asked the question, you know, should we do? Because I remember when Brother Jesse can tell you, Sister Malika and her husband, Brother Jesse, when we first started Ramadan, when I first came in, and Ramadan came in, I think it's like the second year of me being in the mosque in 97. We did the national fast. Oh, my Lord, that was a struggle.
On top.
And when we did it, it was common sense, because the next year we did not do it again.
Right.
You know, so it's true. It's common sense.
Praise be to Allah. You know, I just want to shout out to our brothers and sisters who are on IG, Instagram. You can hear the conversation that is being held with Brother Eric, Student Minister Eric Muhammad, Student Minister Carlos Muhammad. We're just bringing in the holy month of Ramadan, brothers together, as we continue Ramadan readiness sessions. This is the third session. Inshallah, in future sessions, you will be here. We will invite as many as we can online to the readiness session. Live Ramadan readiness sessions, inshallah, will be brought throughout the month of Ramadan to continue to answer questions, frequently asked questions. The ones that we are going over right now, inshallah, we're posting a link to the Final Call article in which this interview was published in 2015, an interview with myself and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan regarding lessons in Ramadan. And this is a particularly important interview to review for the followers of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Wherever he says go, go.
Oh, that's right.
Whatever he says, stay from. And he told us where this is coming from. Read How to Eat to Live. Look at the history of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. Every aspect of the obligations of faith were implemented through gradualism.
That's right.
So we encourage you to go back to session 1, session 2. We review the article that our dear minister wrote in Final Call when he exhorted the believers to fast with the Muslim world. See, our brother student minister Carlos mentioned something very important. You know, our minister in that article said, I believe we as believers have matured.
Matured.
Right?
Matured, that's key.
But some are still asking. Some are still growing. And I believe, Brother Eric, you hit the point. And Brother Carlos, I think you hit this point. There are new believers coming in all of the time. So a lot of these questions, don't feel bad if you're asking them and you're just learning. We're all students in the class.
Mm-hmm.
This is your brother, student Imam. These are your brothers, student ministers. So if there's any corrections, even on what we have presented, we will make sure that those corrections are published. But praise be to Allah, we have guides. Mm-hmm. And what you hear from your brothers is simply echoing the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Now, I know we're getting very late on time, especially on the East Coast. We are coming up on the last key questions of the interview with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I have a list of really over 20 questions from the believers and those that have been logging in on all platforms. So these questions we will continue to answer, not tonight, because we have to get up for Fajr prayer, make sure we have our suhoor, our hydration before the day starts. This is the holy month of Ramadan.
Ramadan.
Ramadan Mubarak again. Ramadan Mubarak again to all who are with us and who have joined us.
Brother Imam, if I could,
please.
I just want to read directly from the minister when that goes right again. You see the consistency all the way up from 1999 in this brochure up until the interview, and you see the continuity. He says here in the brochure given to the believers on Ramadan 1999, my dear beloved brothers and sisters, since the Honorable Elijah Muhammad desired all of us to follow, love, and study, understand, and carry into practice the principles contained in the Holy Quran, I believe now that we are mature enough in our Islam to stay away from the false worship of December 25th. And I believe that we are mature enough in our Islam to do exactly what the Holy Quran demands, and that is to fast during the holy month of Ramadan. Therefore, in closing, I'm asking all of those who follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad under my leadership to uphold what the Holy Quran teaches. Let us all fast in the month of Ramadan that is ordered by Allah in the Holy Quran. Let us do not do no eating and drinking or engaging in sexual intercourse with our husband and wives during the daylight hours. See, he's breaking us. He says this year Ramadan will start with the sighting of the new moon on or near December 20th until the sighting of the next new moon on or near January 18th or 19th. Let there be no quarreling or fighting during this holy month. And that was really it. And from that point on, even though there were already pushes prior since 1986, he cut the total cord. The umbilical cord was totally cut.
Beautiful. Beautifully put.
At that time.
No, that's beautiful, and it again is consistent with the way of the prophet. We see our minister wisely even beginning us during December in the time frame that we had become accustomed to. But we know the lunar calendar moves throughout the year. So right now we are in those hotter days, but we've seen some of the hottest already
Oh
last
yeah.
year.
Oh
So praise be
yeah, yeah,
to and the year
Well,
before
yeah,
that. We're talking about
yeah.
16 to 18 hours of fasting. We're down
Mhm.
now to approximately 16. And brothers and sisters, those of you who prefer December, we'll be back in December again very soon
Yeah.
as we continue to move throughout the solar
Yeah.
calendar. We'll be back in December soon. I
that's
pray
right.
soon, inshallah. I pray we live to see that day,
That I
Yeah.
inshallah.
mean,
Ameen. That'll be a
I
beautiful
mean,
Ramadan to
I
have with
mean.
my brothers. We might be a little more gray.
Come on.
So I think it's in about 10 years, Chief,
yeah.
before we
Yeah,
hit.
it is. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
2031. Looking at
Mm,
that.
Right. Praise be to Allah. So I thank Allah for the guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan,
I
who
mean.
is stage by stage bringing us into the fullest perfection of devotion.
yes, sir.
Fullest perfection of devotion. Praise be to
Foolish.
Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
And we'll pull up our dear minister's interview here. I believe we have like one or two left.
Hmm.
All right. So I respond to our minister after he says, of course, uh, some are angry with me for that. Some are saying, well, that's not what we did when the messenger was here. The messenger is still here.
Still here.
I wanted to
That's right.
come back to that. And I respond, yes, sir, that is the truth. Our minister then responds, just tell them to keep trying. See, look
Yes,
at
sir.
the beauty of our minister. He knows that our deceptive intelligence is kicking in, and he's just guiding us. Praise be to Allah. To try, just try. Just tell them to keep trying. Even if you miss, you tried.
Tried.
Allah is not going to kill you because you tried and you were overtaken for a day or two or three. Keep trying.
Trying.
And one day Allah will bless you to do the whole fast in the hottest month of the year,
That's
which
right.
we are in right now.
Come
This
on.
was a couple years back, a few years,
That's
well, more
right.
than a couple, it's 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
It eases up as time goes on. Our minister doesn't miss. He's getting right to this point.
Come on.
It's not like this every year. So, when your mind is focused and made up, you don't make excuses. You try.
That's right.
If you
Try.
fail, you try again. And if you mess up, you can make up days. I don't know everything. I don't know everything has been given to. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Everything has been given
Has been
to
given
us.
to us.
I don't know why we have to now try to find some way back to December. So no, our minister is telling us you don't have to try to find a way back to December. He's telling you try hard in these hot days. And if
That's
you
right.
can't make some of them, you can make them up in December. You can make them up later in the year. This is why we focus so clearly on the first portion of this session on verses 183 through 186 of Suratul Baqarah, the cow, chapter number 2, which focus on that reality that Allah wants you to fast, but he says here in verse 185, And whoever is sick or on a journey, he shall fast a like number of other days. Allah desires ease for you.
For you.
A like number of days. It's still the fast of Ramadan if you make up days that are missed. As a matter of fact, we should have been making up those days if we've missed them last year before tonight.
Right.
We encouraged us on previous calls to make up and sessions online to make up those days that we may have missed last year if we got sick or found it too difficult. We have a full year to make up those days that we have missed, and we can do so in some of these shorter days.
That's right.
Where the sun is going down much earlier in the day. Our next question in the interview with our dear minister, in regard to the eating of land animals during Ramadan. This was the part 2 of the previous question. Our minister says that's your choice, whether or not you eat land animals or not. That's your choice. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us to eat fish during that month of Ramadan. He is breaking us away from meats. That was a wonderful way to do it, and use the month of Ramadan for fish. I did that too during one of my Ramadans. We would just eat fish. Breaking away from land animals is a right thing to do.
Yeah.
He's already told us no meat is good for us. So when are we going to get to that point where we are meatless? But occasionally I will eat a piece of meat, a decision that the faster has to make. So this is a decision the faster has to make on whether or not to eat land animals or fish. Our minister gives us this very clearly here. So he is not breaking the fast if he eats a piece of meat or if he eats a piece of fish. If he's vegetarian, none of that will matter anyway. That makes it easy for the believer. See our minister pointing us toward where the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wants us to go, and
That's right.
Not even
That's
beyond
right.
just land animals. Give up meat altogether, including fish. And we close with the interview from our dear minister. He states, I would go back to the law that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave, that is directly out of the Quran.
Listen to this.
And then the gray areas where you are not sure, your conscience will tell you.
That's right.
Your conscience will tell you that. If you don't know if it's right or wrong, then don't do it.
Do it.
That's right.
There it is.
دع ما يريبك إلى ما لا يريبك. Leave that which makes you doubt for that which does not make you doubt. That is a direct quote from the Prophet Muhammad, peace and
That's
blessings
right.
of Allah be upon him. That is what
That's
our
right.
dear minister is saying, that your very nature, if doubt comes up, leave it alone. So praise be to Allah. We have made it through the key questions and answers that were frequently asked by the believers, followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, concerning the times to pray, our fasting, when to pray. The times of fasting, when to fast, and the different expiations of fast. We will go into, inshallah, on our next session. We will come back live again very soon, very early, because there were some key questions, and I do want to answer this one we have quite a few questions still from the believers that we have to come back to answer. Inshallah, if I have one of those devices with that list. Okay. One of the key ones we did not, um, it's not here. Uh, One of the key questions that we did not answer was related to those who have health issues that they are confronting. It's not here. It's on the other one. So during the holy month of Ramadan, those that suffer from any ailment, whether it is diabetes, any ailment that would prevent you from taking the fast, please, please consult your doctor. But you are exempt from fasting if you have any condition, as the Quranic mandate is here. As we mentioned, if you are sick or on a journey, you are exempted from fasting, and you can make up those days at another time. Now, if you are unable to fast, period, you are to feed someone who is hungry, someone who is in need. And that is an expiation for that day's fast. So for the days that you miss, you feed a poor person. Now, do not press yourself if you have medical conditions. Again, Allah does not want hardship for you.
Right.
The fast can then be expressed through as Allah states, doing good spontaneously, feeding a poor man, do some good deeds, do some works that will expiate and clean ourselves of the sin. Final Call Radio is up.
That's right.
Can point our brothers and sisters to the life-giving word of Final Call News, the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Do good works to expiate ourselves from the fast. In place of fasting, we pick up good deeds. So I just wanted to make sure that we covered that key question before we begin our fast tomorrow, particularly those who are taking medications. Do not stop your medications. You can consult your doctor on when you take those medications. If you change the time of day, and that does not impact the desired effects of medications, please make sure we keep in mind Allah desires ease for you, and He desires not hardship for you.
That's right.
All right. But He desires that you should complete the number of days.
That's right.
Right? So that number of days could be at any time during the year. Those shorter days. And we have a question. We've actually dealt with this in detail. And then I would actually refer you back to session 2, where we dealt with this in detail with a PowerPoint presentation. The question was, what does the day look like? When to start? When to end? Dark to dark? Question mark. Okay, we dealt with that extensively in session 2. Please refer to session 2. We will also post it as part of the frequently asked questions. The quick answer is dark to dark. We begin fasting before sunrise. Before sunrise. Dark to dark. And our brother Romanio. Assalamu alaikum. Brother
Romanio. Wow.
Oh man, with the little God.
Yeah, that's right.
Praise
Genius.
be to Allah. He's tuned in at YouTube. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Romanio. Praise be to Allah. Ramadan Mubarak.
Assalamu alaikum.
Our brother's asking about the prayer line. Please don't forget, tomorrow we have the Ramadan prayer line. You can search social media to where you can connect to that. I will give you, inshallah, the website and information on that in just a moment. But yes, there are different time zones. Thank you, ma'am. There are different time zones for the prayer, so that has to be taken into account as well. We have a prayer schedule that has been emailed out to the believers. We also, if it's not there yet, we will have the Ramadan prayer schedule posted at noi.org/Ramadan. Praise be to Allah.
But Imam, is there where you can also post, and I can send it to you, also post the Juzah, the parts?
Yes, we do have a outline for the ruku'ah, the juz'a, the manzil, depending on how much you want to read and how many times you might want to read the Quran during this holy month. But yes, sir, that will be there as well with what verse to begin and to end with for each reading of the day. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
Let's take our daily dose of the Holy Quran. Put the Quran in your playlist.
That's right.
Man, one of our brothers just posted on here. Ramadan is about to go off. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's one of our brothers on IG. Allahu Akbar. So, and this is one of our sisters here, Asia. And she says, we can't hear anything on this end. I'm sorry, ma'am. Please visit us on YouTube. This is to push us over to the YouTube page. Praise be to Allah. We have our brother, student minister Carlos from Baltimore. If you wish to join in the conversation and to hear more, you can find us on YouTube. Search your brother, Sultan Muhammad, and you'll see the live stream there. We've come toward the end. Inshallah, we pray that you have gained some benefit from tonight's call, that you have gotten your questions answered, your key questions. Again, we have still scratched the surface of those major questions that are asked often, particularly around the times of fasting, the significance of fasting, expiations of fasting we will deal with in more detail. And inshallah, I pray that you are not only finding some benefit in this, but inshallah that our spirit is in the tune and in time with where we are. Allah has placed us in our homes during this holy month of Ramadan for a purpose. He has placed us to face ourselves. He has placed us in our homes so that we have more gratitude for our families, more gratitude for the blessings that He has given us. Many of us are going to be looking at that refrigerator like, oh Allah, it's talking to me. We're going to be looking at that glass of water like, please, you know, and it's going to be looking back at you right there in your own home. Do we have the will? Do we have the will power, which is the power of God Himself, to maintain the challenge that is before us, to give up something that is necessary to life, water, food, to abstain, so that we may become supernatural. Praise be to Allah. So Ramadan Mubarak to everyone. Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Mubarak.
We thank Allah for blessing us to meet this month again. And inshallah, we pray to see you soon. As we have been doing, we will give you a head on our next time that we will, inshallah, go live. And as we close, please post your name with your address if you wish to join us for the next Ramadan readiness session. Post your, no, hold on, let me get this right. Your email. Your email, but don't post it, just DM, okay? Yeah. Or inbox me your email. If you wish to join, inshallah, our next session, we're going to try something a little different this year. You can email us at courses@mohammedcenter.com, courses@mohammedcenter.com, or you can reach me at my national email, which is nationalimam@noi.org, nationalimam@noi.org. Email us. Let us know you want to be part of our next Ramadan session, our Ramadan readiness session. Share some of your wins, and inshallah, we have something in store for the believers as we move through this holy month of Ramadan. We thank Allah for you joining us, and inshallah, if we have nothing else, we can go ahead and close out, inshallah, in a short dua.
Brother Imam, could you quickly give the information concerning Jumu'ah webcast tomorrow for the believers to be able to watch in their nation's profile?
Yes. Jumu'ah, thank you, beloved.
Yes, sir.
Jumu'ah tomorrow will be streamed from the nation's program, tnp.noi.org. Please log in, view the message, inshallah. Every Jumu'ah we will go deeper into the aspects of the fast. We consider this really an extension to the believers to go into details more than we would in a Jumu'ah Salah. But be sure to feed from the spiritual gathering online with your brothers and your sisters as we are logging in across the country, having Jumu'ah prayer together. Bring your children around the screen, make your prayer, make your intention. If there's any reason for you missing that time, know that you can pray Dhuhr prayer instead, right? And then tune into the message at a later time. But most of us are shut in. We're locked in. So let us feed. Let us feed from the spirit of truth. And that's what you will get when you tune into NOI.org or your nation's program. You will be able to feed. We also have our Wednesday class that is on the nation's program as well. Our Friday class with our dear sister, Dr. Ava Muhammad, student national spokesperson for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I want to thank our dear sister for inviting me tonight on Elevated Places to greet the believers for this holy month of Ramadan as we begin to prepare and inshallah wake up tomorrow to the fast of Ramadan, the great fast of Ramadan. And I ask the believers or any who are taking this fast to review the video or message of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called Ramadan, the Great Fast.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very, very encouraging, very, very beautiful message for entering this holy month. Praise be to Allah. Alhamdulillah, inshallah, we will come back, and if your question was not answered, we will get back to you. And I know there are many because I'm looking at the list. I'm looking at the names of many of the names I recognize, and we'll be back. Okay, inshallah, we won't let too long pass before the next time we see you. All right, and do know, last point, the questions that we have not answered aren't those that would deter you from beginning your fast.
That's right.
Okay, don't say, "Oh, brother Imam didn't answer my question. I couldn't. I couldn't start fasting."
I couldn't start.
No, we have the keys. We have the resources that we pointed out in the first session. We have addressed the keys to begin your fast. Don't delay. All right, inshallah, if you have the capacity, make your intention. And inshallah, we will begin the holy month of Ramadan's fast tomorrow, 2020. Praise be to Allah. So inshallah, we'll close with a short dua. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا صراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
الله أكبر.
Allahu Akbar.
May Allah accept our effort. We greet you, dear brothers and sisters. We greet you, my dear brother Carlos, my dear brother Eric, with the greeting words of peace. And to all, Ramadan Mubarak. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Hashtag no sleep.
Yes, sir.
Hashtag no sleep.
Come on now.
See you in a couple hours.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you, brothers and sisters on IG.